say, don't try to do anything to help the people who need the help right now.
Senator Obama.
I think that we need to help them. I think it is important to make sure that we're not helping out the speculators, but instead are helping out the homeowners who are actually living in their homes, who have the capacity to make the payments if they're not seeing a huge increase in their mortgage payments. But understand this, this is not new. I mean, we have a history in this country of preying on low-income peoples because they don't have access to banks. The Community Reinvestment Act is oftentimes not enforced as it should be. We've got to open up bank branches. We've got to give people access to financing so that they're not going to a payday loan operation. I, 2 years ago, introduced a provision that would eliminate predatory lending, something that I had already helped to get passed at the state level. But it is important for us to understand that we've got to give ordinary working people access to financing, and it's important to understand that part of the reason that they are borrowing on their homes, they're borrowing on credit cards, is that the banks and financial institutions have dominated policy in Washington. And this is an area where I've got a policy disagreement with Senator Clinton. When we talked a while back, just in the last debate, we talked about the bankruptcy bill, which had been pushed by the banks and the financial institutions. That said, basically, it will be harder for folks who have been lured into these teaser rates and then see their credit cards go up to 30%, that they would have a tougher time getting out of bankruptcy. In the last debate, Senator Clinton said she voted for it but hoped that it wouldn't pass. Now, I don't understand that approach to legislation. I think it is important for us to stand up to these special interests consistently, all the time, and that's what I've done, and that's what I will continue.
I'm going to go to Suzanne Malvone in a second, but I just want to give you a chance, Senator Obama, if you want to respond. Senator Clinton made a serious allegation that you worked for a slumlord, and I wonder if you want to respond.
I'm happy to respond. Here's what happened. I was an associate at a law firm that represented a church group that had partnered with this individual to do a project. And I did about 5 hours worth of work on this joint project. That's what she's referring to. Now, it's fine for her to throw that out. But the larger reason that I think this debate is important is because we do have to trust our leaders and what they say. That is important, because if we can't, then we're not going to be able to mobilize the American people behind bringing about changes in health care reform, bringing about changes in how we're going to put people back to work, changing our trade laws. And consistency matters. Truthfulness during campaigns makes a difference. And that's what I try to do, and I will continue trying to do as President of the United States. Thank you, Senator.
Now, let me start with the claim about the bankruptcy bill. I said very clearly I regretted voting for it, and I was happy that it didn't get into law. By 2005, there was another run at a bankruptcy reform motivated by the credit card companies and the other big lenders. I opposed that bill. I said very forcefully I opposed that bill. There was a particular amendment that I think is very telling. It was an amendment to prohibit credit card companies from charging more than 30% interest. Senator Obama voted for it. I voted against it. It was one of the biggest lobbyist victories on that very bad bill that the bankruptcy bill represented.
Thank you.
And I think it's important, if you look at the recent article about Senator Obama's work on health care reform in the Illinois legislature, it's a very interesting piece about how he basically did the bidding of the insurance companies during that effort. Now, I'm just saying that if we're going to be hurling these charges against one another, I'm